I can pinpoint the exact instant my world shattered, like a fragile glass tower crumbling under its own weight, leaving me adrift in a sea of betrayal and heartbreak. Everything I knew twisted into something unrecognizable, stripping away my sense of belonging and forcing me into exile. It all ignited the night my boyfriend discovered his true mate, ripping our future apart in a single, devastating blow.
Welcome to Luna's Romance Stories. Read the entire novel in one go. Message or comment to tell me what kind of story you'd like to read. Subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Luna reminds you, the story begins now.
It all started when my boyfriend had found his mate. Blake and I had been dating since I was 16. Almost a year of time was spent having him by my side. Blake happened to be the alpha's son. I had grown up with Blake and spent my childhood training at his side. When I turned 16, the feelings of friendship quickly blossomed into romance. Blake was 17, able to find his mate from he turned 19. I was so gullible back then, hanging on his every word. I was so sure we would be mates. We were destined after all. I had this same delirious mindset up until his 19th birthday party, the day where everything crashed and burned. Blake picked me up from my house around 8 p.m. He pulled up to my house in his shiny Mustang. I'd often joke that he loved his car more than me. There were a lot of things Blake loved more than me. My mom, dad, and older brother weren't fond of me dating their soon-to-be alpha. They knew the risks of getting involved with another wolf, but like a child, I had ignored them. I hopped into Blake's car, not thinking twice that he hadn't opened the door for me. "I thought I told you to wear the blue dress." Blake sighed, rolling his eyes. I frowned at him and looked down at the black dress I was wearing. I didn't see anything wrong with it. "I told you I didn't like that one." I frowned, wondering what got him in such a bad mood. "Whatever, you know I am just looking out for you." Blake shrugged. "You look like some goth girl when you wear black." I rolled my eyes at his bad mood, knowing he would cheer up once he had a few drinks in him. Blake never liked when I wore black. He would always say I looked goth. I didn't see a problem with looking goth. Some of the clothes they wore were really cute. I am sure it didn't help that I had straight, raven-colored hair. Blake had told me hundreds of times how much better I would look as a blonde, but I couldn't bring myself to dye my hair. I was the only one in the family who had gotten my grandma's raven hair. I sat in silence as Blake drove, listening to him openly complain about the neighboring packs. Blake seemed to have a problem with just about everybody. The alpha from the Dawn pack is asking for my help. He picked a fight with the Crescent pack and needs my help to get out of it. Blake rolled his eyes, running his hand through his sandy blonde hair. I felt my eyes widen. The Crescent pack. Why the heck would he pick a fight with them? The Crescent pack were one of the baddest packs around. Legend says they started out as a pack of all rogues and quickly expanded once Alpha Gabriel came into power. Now Alpha Gabriel's grandson had taken over, and it seemed the cruelty ran in the family. "Please, Lila," Blake scoffed. "It is just a stupid pack, and their alpha is just a man." "A man with a lot of territory," I mumbled, knowing that the Crescent pack held the most territory in the world. They were the biggest pack our kind had ever seen. "Not for long," Blake smirked. I didn't like the feeling that bubbled in my stomach at his words. "What do you?" I started, but was cut off. "Enough of that. It is not important." Blake dismissed me with a wave of his hand. We pulled into the parking lot of the nightclub and Blake turned to face me. "This is important." Blake smirked, pulling me in and pressing his lips against my own. I giggled like a stupid school girl and leaned into the kiss, loving the butterflies that swarmed my stomach. "Are you finally going to say yes tonight?" Blake smirked, tugging on a piece of my long hair. I found myself smiling back, ready to give him the news he had been waiting for. It was only a matter of hours until Blake was able to find his mate. He had been nagging me for months now to finally sleep with him, to let him take my virginity. Each time I had turned him down, waiting for this night. Once we officially became mates, I would give myself to him entirely. "I am ready," I bit my lip, looking up into his cerulean eyes. His smirk deepened as he pulled me in for another kiss. "It is about damn time." I giggled as he grumbled. We went inside the club and met up with our friends. I linked my arm through Tessa's and talked to her over the pounding music. Tessa was one of those people who was easy to hate and harder to like. I realized later on in my life that I had been the same as her, shallow, bitchy, mean even. "Hey, bitch." Tessa smirked, flipping her honey-colored hair behind her shoulder. I smirked back at her, taking in the baby pink dress she was wearing. "Hey yourself." I happily clung to Blake's side while he talked to his closest friends, Derek and Ethan. Derek was your typical asshole, always jumping around from girl to girl. He had even tried to get with me at one point. Derek had a problem with personal space and would often try to push any kind of boundaries you set. Ethan was 19 and had already found his mate, but he didn't seem too attached to her. He'd often go out with Derek and Blake, doing only goddess knows what. "You ready to find your mate?" Derek teased, waggling his eyebrows at a group of human girls that passed by. "Hopefully she is hot." Blake smirked, giving my shoulder a small squeeze as he glanced down at me. I rolled my eyes at him and playfully smacked his shoulder. I eyed Blake's drink enviously. He never liked when I drank alcohol. It didn't fit his picture-perfect narrative. I turned towards Tessa and struck up a conversation. "If I happen to be Blake's mate, hope you won't hold it against me." Tessa winked, giving Blake a sly glance. I rolled my eyes at her. "Please, if anything, your mate will be Derek." I broke out into giggles at the disgusted look on her face. "Not a chance. Been there, done that. Never again." Tessa practically shrieked, fanning herself with her hand. You slept with him." I fake gagged. She rolled her eyes at me as if I were a petulant child. "Well, duh, who hasn't?" She scoffed. Me, I haven't." I smirked at her. "Well, that is because the purity princess is saving herself for her mate." Tessa cooed dramatically, but I knew she was making fun. "Jealousy doesn't suit you." I stuck my tongue out at her. Just then, Blake ripped himself from my side hard enough to make me stumble. "What the hell, babe?" I snapped, looking at him in surprise. "Do you smell that?" I heard him murmur to himself. I watched, open-mouthed as my entire world crumbled. A tall, long-legged girl made her way out of the woman's bathroom and locked eyes with Blake, even with the thumping music sending vibrations scattering across my skin. You could hear a pin drop. "Oh shit." I could hear Derek's amused voice, but it sounded like he was in a bubble. Blake and the mystery woman locked eyes and ran into each other's arms, like some kind of bad romance movie. I couldn't hear anyone else now, couldn't focus on anyone's face. I could have sworn I saw Derek laughing and Tessa with a sly smirk on her face. The only one who didn't seem amused was Ethan. I could feel my entire body trembling as my brain fought to process what was happening. Blake had found his mate. My boyfriend had found his mate, and it wasn't me. Then, like any completely rational teenage girl, I ran. I didn't stop running until I was deep into the forest, my lungs burning from being deprived of oxygen. My wolf, Luna, was furious. She was hesitant about Blake in the beginning, but was eventually won over. She thought he was our mate too, while I was heartbroken and fighting back tears. Luna was seething. I closed my eyes and allowed her to take over, making her promise that she wouldn't go and hunt Blake down. Luna carried us farther into the woods, and I allowed myself to sink into the furthest depths of her mind. My head was still racing with what had just happened. I wanted to turn everything off for just a few moments. I couldn't handle it. Hers and ours had passed, but I hardly noticed. I drifted off as Luna hunted and continued running. I finally came to my senses when soft grass tickled my naked back. The familiar scent of herbs filled the air. Basil, lavender, and mint invaded my nose and soothed my aching heart. "Lila dear, is that you?" A withered voice called out, and I felt my heart jump. "You brought me here?" I asked Luna in surprise. "We need her. We're not going back," she growled, resenting me for thwarting her plans on attacking Blake. Grandma. My voice cracked, and I sat up from the grass. It was nearing dawn. The sun was just beginning to rise, and it cast orange hues along her small cottage. Her herb gardens lifted and swayed in the breeze. I had always loved coming to Grandma's house. My mom forbade me and my brother from coming back here, holding a grudge against my grandma for years. The story of my mom meeting my dad isn't one I like to talk about. My mom and dad aren't mates. Mom rejected her mate when she was younger, seeking out my dad when she realized his mate had died. My grandma always resented her for that, for throwing the mate bond away. "Lila, what on earth are you doing here?" my grandma exclaimed, wrapping a woven blanket around my exposed body. She pulled me into a hug, and I could feel myself break down at her familiar scent and touch. My grandma had this quality that made everyone love her. She was nearly impossible not to get along with. My grandma matched my extremely short height of 5'2" and had the same long black hair. She was more withered, with laugh lines circling her mouth and eyes, but she had never looked better to me. "I missed you so much," I cried into her shoulder. I even remembered how she smelled, so many different herbs and apples. Grandma had a couple of apple trees she absolutely adored. She would always be making a pie or some kind of dessert when we used to visit. "What has got you all worked up, Lila?" Grandma frowned. "Is it that boy you are dating?" Grandma was always supportive of anything I wanted to do. She just always reminded me to think things through. Grandma led me into her little cottage and sat me by her fireplace. "Tell me, what happened?" She sat next to me, placing a fresh set of clothes in my lap. And tell her, I did. I poured my heart out for what seemed like hours. She never once threw my mistake back in my face, like my mother would have. "I don't want to go back, Grandma. I can't face them," I sniffled. "Then you won't go back. You'll stay here with me." My grandma nodded with finality. She had that determined look on her face that said, "Nobody will stand in my way." "What about Mom and Dad?" I sighed, knowing a huge fight between them was brewing. "You let me deal with your parents." My grandma shook her head, placing a cup of tea in my hands. 1 year later, ha! I laughed, launching myself through the air. I maneuvered around the muscular arms that reached out to grab me. I dropped to the ground, dodging limbs and landing my own blows as I went. "Good, Lila. Don't let me land any blows," Harlan's weary voice yelled out. "Just a few more seconds, he is getting tired." Luna coached me. I continued to dodge each move Harlan made while landing my own in the process. I could feel him breaking down, growing tired as he threw all he had at me. "Now!" Luna yelled in my head. I leaped at Harlan suddenly, his eyes widening in shock before he could defend himself. He turned away, as if he were going to run. I landed on his back and wrapped my arms around his neck, putting pressure on his windpipe. After a second or two of holding it there, I jumped off his back and beamed up at him. "That was some good work, kid." Harlan nodded appreciatively. "Thanks," I smirked. Finally, having gotten the upper hand on him, Harlan rolled his eyes and frowned at me. "Don't go getting cocky now. You still need to work on building your strength." I know. Just let me have this win." I sighed, smiling at my grandma as she came out of the cottage with food and drinks. I had been living with Grandma for almost a year, only talking to my parents once a week. I stopped calling my mom after a month. She insisted on giving me updates on Blake and his mate, which I learned was named Mia. I kept in constant contact with my dad, the only person who seemed to understand the decision I had made. Even my older brother Owen rarely called. Owen had started taking over his duties as beta, my father having retired almost a year ago. Life had been amazing living with my grandma. I spent my 18th birthday in her cottage, picking herbs and making pastries with the apples she had picked. My grandma lived a simple life, but I had quickly grown to love it. She introduced me to her neighbor, Harlan. Harlan happened to be a werewolf like Grandma and I. In Harlan's prime, he was one of the best warriors in history, and even a beta at one point. No one knew what happened to him after he disappeared. No one but my grandma. Harlan agreed to train me, looking at my short stature and deciding I needed to know how to protect myself. Harlan taught me to use what I had in my favor. Being 5'2" and 105 pounds didn't give me much to work with. After training with Harlan for almost a year, I could easily handle myself. I am small and fast, which means men twice my size had to work even harder to land any blows. "Lila, dear, your brother's on the line waiting for you," Grandma informed me, placing a sandwich in my hand as I walked into the house. "Hello," I said through a mouthful of sandwich. "Why would Owen be calling me, Lila? I have some news." Owen's voice responded from the other end, sounding a lot deeper than usual. "What is up?" I frowned, sitting on the arm of the couch as I munched on my sandwich. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. "Mom's dead, Lila," Owen replied in a gruff voice. I felt my face scrunch up in confusion. How could Mom be dead? Everything seemed normal when Dad called me every week. "What? How?" I demanded. "Just come home, Lila. I don't want to explain this over the phone." Owen sighed, adding, "Dad needs you." I'll talk to Grandma." I sighed. The last thing in the world I wanted was to go home. The thought of running into Blake or his mate put a sour taste in my mouth. After Harlan went home for the day, I told Grandma the news. As much as Grandma didn't like my mom, she was still sad to hear what had happened. "And he wouldn't tell you what happened to her." Grandma sighed. "He said he wanted to explain in person. He said Dad needs me." I frowned at her, and she knew what I needed to do. "Then I suppose we better get packing." Grandma frowned, worrying about her widowed son. You are coming too?" I nearly gasped. A stern frown crossed her face, but I could see her eyes twinkling. "Of course, no granddaughter of mine is going back to her slimy ex without some backup. I don't know what I'd do without you," I sighed, pulling her in for a hug. "Just don't expect me to get into any fist fights. I am too old for that stuff. No one wants to see a 60-year-old werewolf fight." Grandma cackled. I rolled my eyes at her, but I couldn't help the giggle that slipped from my lips. "You'll never be old to me," I smirked, following her into the bedroom to pack our clothes away. Grandma stopped by Harlan's house the next morning, letting him know where we had gone. She promised him a year's supply of apple pies if he took care of her herb garden. We hopped into my grandma's car and the anticipation bubbled in my stomach. Everything about me had changed in such a short amount of time. I was no longer weak or shallow. I wouldn't let anyone walk all over me ever again. "Are you ready for this?" My grandma frowned, her silver eyes meeting my identical ones. "Not at all." I gave her a weak smile. "Chin up. If any of those pups mess with you, bite their damn head off." My grandma encouraged me, through the nerves and resentment I held for my old pack. I laughed at my grandma and braced myself. Turns out I wasn't the only thing that had changed. The drive back to my old pack was only 5 hours. While I remembered Blake finding his mate like it was yesterday, the run to my grandma's house had been hazy. "You ran 5 hours?" I asked Luna, somewhat shocked. "We needed to get the hell out of there," she grumbled. "And now we're going right back. We don't have a choice." I sighed. "But we're both different now." "You are damn right we are," Luna growled smugly. We pulled up to the edge of the pack's territory, escorted to the side of the road by some of the wolves who were guarding the perimeter. I was surprised that I didn't recognize any of these wolves. They emerged from the forest wearing nothing but low-hanging sweatpants. I tried to keep my gaze to myself, but I am still half human. "What is your business coming here?" One of the men spoke up. His build was huge, and he had a long scar running down his bicep. "We're here to visit family. My brother's the beta," I replied. Looking at each of their faces, there really wasn't anyone here that I recognized. Had the pack grown in the time that I was gone? Beta Drake? The man had a confused look on his face. "What? No, Beta Owen," I scowled. Since when did Blake have a beta named Drake? I wondered if everything was okay with Owen's position in the pack. You typically have to do something really bad to lose your position like that. A look of understanding crossed the man's face, and he glanced at the other men with him. "Go on through," He nodded once, and my grandma wasted no time in pulling away. Well, that sure was strange. My grandma looked at me and frowned. I am sure she was thinking the same thing as me. It definitely was, I frowned. We drove through the center of town, and I was shocked to see a ton of new faces. Something had definitely happened while I was gone. I vaguely remembered Blake telling me about another pack that needed help. Maybe they finally joined forces. We pulled into the driveway of my old house. The white paint was now faded. It looked like I had been gone for much longer than a year. The flowers that were once outside were now wilted and dead. My mom was the one to take care of the flowers out front. How long has she been dead for? I hesitated at the door, wondering if I should knock or just walk in. My train of thought was interrupted as my grandma opened the door and walked into the house. A shocked Owen was sitting on the couch, my dad sitting off to the side in his recliner. "Lila," my dad exclaimed, looking more surprised than ever. My dad and Owen looked me up and down, noticing the changes I had been through in the past year. My raven-colored hair had grown longer than ever, now reaching my waist. My silver eyes were much brighter, teeming with life. My skin was clear and porcelain, and I had lost some of the baby fat I had carried with me. The fat quickly was replaced with muscle. "Hi, Dad." I smiled at him, walking into his arms. I breathed in his scent of cologne and tobacco. "I missed you, kid," my dad grumbled, ruffling my hair before he turned to his mom. His face lit up like a little kid. "It is good to see you, Ma." He pulled her in for a hug and held on for dear life. "Now tell me what the hell is going on." I scowled at Owen, who was simply watching their exchange with Dad. Dad sighed and sat back down on his recliner, looking tired and somewhat beaten down. "Well, go on. I am not going to break if you talk about it," he grumbled at Owen. My grandma stood off to the side, her hand on her son's shoulder. "Blake fucked up." Owen huffed. I rolled my eyes. "Wow, so surprised. Keep going." "I don't know if he told you, but Blake was supposed to help another pack. They pissed off the alpha of the Crescent pack and needed backup, in case they went to war." Owen started, and I was already becoming bored. Blake's mistakes didn't surprise me. After finally leaving home, I was able to see what a complete moron he was. "Okay, and..." I drug my words out, letting him know I didn't care about any of the small details. "Well, Blake refused to help them. Then, Blake kept talking shit on the Crescent pack. He pissed off their alpha, pissed him off real bad." Owen shook his head as if he were trying to get rid of a bad memory. "He didn't." I sighed, shaking my head. I know Blake's inflated ego was going to bite him in the ass. His father was a half-assed alpha and he was turning out to be the same. "They came here, Lila. They declared war on us." Owen frowned, glancing at Dad. I couldn't help but feel confused. Sure, there were a lot of new faces, but everything seemed the same. There was no way Blake defeated the alpha of the Crescent pack. "What happened?" I frowned, looking between Owen and my dad's grim faces. "I'll tell you what happened." My dad spat angrily. "Not a single fucking pack would help Blake. Blake made us all fight. Every man and woman had to fight. Your mom died, fighting. I couldn't get to her in time." My dad's voice broke off with a mournful sigh. How could he do that?" I said the words more to myself. I knew Blake was bad, but this was worse than I could imagine. Then again, they hadn't finished the story. And you know what the worst part of all of this is? Blake fucking ran, grabbed his bitch and escaped while the rest of us were fighting for our lives. My dad spat. Now he was shaking with anger. My grandma gasped, and they gave us a few moments to process what Dad had said. Abandoning your pack was something no alpha had ever done. Being an alpha wasn't a job, it was something embedded deep inside of you. An alpha would sooner be tortured and die with their pack than to leave everyone behind. It went against everything we know as werewolves. Dad calmed down. "If he ever comes back, Alpha will kill him." Owen's face turned grim again. "Alpha? Alpha who?" I questioned. Once we realized Blake had left us all to die, we did the only thing we could. We surrendered. Owen frowned. We have a new alpha now, Alpha Rider. We're part of the Crescent Pack. Owen grumbled, obviously not enjoying the situation. I wondered what that would mean for his position as Beta. At least Alpha Rider would never leave his pack behind. Dad spat. He may be ruthless and cruel, but he'd sooner die than abandon his people. After the long and painful conversation, they gave me and my grandma time to settle in. I nearly cried when I saw my room was exactly how I had left it. I ripped the pictures of Blake and I down with a furious growl. Better that girl be his mate than us. We'd never abandon our pack like that. Luna spat. We kind of did abandon our pack, I replied to her with a frown. That is different. Lila, we're not Luna, we're not betas or anything. We had no obligation to this pack, especially after Blake. Luna growled, but her words made sense. She was right though, if we were Luna, we would have died along with our friends and family. After settling in, Grandma and I went back downstairs. Grandma insisted on making dinner, even though my dad grumbled in disagreement. I knew he was happy to see his mom, though. He needed his family after losing Mom. She may have not been his mate, but he'd been with her for 20 years. As we ate dinner, I nearly jumped off my seat hearing the mind link click in my head. The mind link hadn't worked since I decided to leave the pack. A deep, husky voice ran through my head. I practically shivered as it swirled in my ear, around my head, and out the other. Your port to training at the pack house. 10 a.m. Do not be late. I look forward to meeting you. A male's husky voice rolled around in my head, rough and commanding. Was that Alpha Rider? I found myself speaking out loud. Dad, Owen, and Grandma gave me looks of confusion. What, Lila? My dad frowned. Uneaten spaghetti hung from his fork. A guy told me to report for training tomorrow? I sounded unsure. Was it his beta? That was Alpha Rider. Owen nodded, his lips pressed in a thin line. My dad nodded. He likes doing things himself. He makes everyone train. I scowled at the two of them. I didn't like being forced into doing anything. Don't worry, Lila. If you are no good, he won't make you fight. He just likes to see what everyone is capable of. Owen told me, his frown permanently etched onto his face. I can fight just fine, I snapped at him. I no longer wanted to be treated like some dainty little girl. I may be small, but I can handle my own. Since when? Finally, a smirk formed on his face. The only other expression I had seen on his face was a frown. I glared at him. Since I left this pack, I haven't been sitting on my ass for an entire year. I'll be there tomorrow for training too. We'll see how good you really are, little sis. He smirked at me, only pissing me off further. Blake was a big advocate on men fight better than women. It was good to know my brother felt the same. Harlan pushed me to the breaking point more times than I could count. I had no doubt that I could handle most of the male wolves here. I spent the rest of the afternoon with my family. Grandma tried to raise the moods, but they had been sitting in misery for who knows how long. I followed my grandma outside and helped her straighten out the wilting flowers that crowded the outside of the house. By the time we were finished pulling up the dead flowers and planting new ones, I was exhausted and covered in dirt. And you call yourself old? I huffed at her, taking long gulps of the lemonade she had made for me. She chuckled at my statement and rolled her eyes. Years and years of working in my garden, dear. Let's make that a part of your training. She laughed, and I gave her a frightened look. You are gonna work me to death, Grandma, and I thought Harlan was an evil dictator. I shuddered in fear. My grandma cackled and shooed me inside. By the time I finally collapsed on my bed, I was knocked out cold without a second thought. I woke to the sound of banging, startled from my sleep. I jumped out of bed just in time for my bedroom door to open. Shit, Lila. What were you still doing here? My dad exclaimed, his eyes darting around at my restless appearance. Huh, was the first thing to leave my lips. For a minute there, I hadn't even remembered leaving Grandma's house. With an exasperated look, my dad replied, Hell, you are late for training. What? I gasped. Why didn't Owen wake me up? He has patrol early in the mornings. My dad groaned. Already off to a bad start. Shit, well go so I can get dressed. I huffed, sprinting to my suitcase and yanking out the first thing I saw. Once my door closed, I slipped on a black sports bra and a pair of black leggings. I hastily combed through my hair using the bathroom mirror. In the back of my head, I remembered Blake's comment about me looking goth. I smirked into the mirror. I darted down the stairs, nearly toppling my grandma over on the way. Lila, if you end my life knocking me down these stairs, I'll haunt you, Grandma called out after me. But I was already barreling through the front door. My stomach rumbled, demanding we go back home and eat some breakfast. As much as I'd love to oblige, I couldn't. Goddess, he is going to be pissed. Luna huffed. Well, I didn't see you waking me up on time either, I grumbled at her. I was busy. Luna shrugged, giving a half-ass excuse. You are a damn wolf who lives in my head. What could you have possibly been doing? I shook my head at her. Luna's voice went silent in my head and I rolled my eyes. For once I was thankful that our house was a short run from the pack house. By the time my lungs had started to burn, I could see the others already training. I skidded to a halt in front of everyone. From the looks of it, there were at least 30 other wolves present for training. I instantly noticed Alpha Rider's men lingering around. Each one looked like they were half giant, and many had gruesome scars on different parts of their body. Each one was completely hot in an animalistic sort of way. I had been so busy ogling the shirtless men that I hadn't heard it when someone behind me cleared their throat. I spun around and nearly smacked into someone's chest. Well, fuck, Luna's breath caught in her throat. I could only assume I was looking into the eyes of Alpha Rider. His eyes were the color of liquid honey, and at the moment they were set directly on my face. Didn't I specifically tell you not to be late? His husky voice was hard, lacking any emotion other than impatience. Please, Luna rolled her eyes. From the looks of it, sleep was definitely better than this. The tone of his voice pissed me off. He sounded like your typical hot-blooded alpha. Without thinking it through, I felt the words fall from my lips. I am not good with rules, I said bluntly, looking up at him. The guy had to be over 6 feet tall. I stifled a snicker as I wondered if he could give me a couple inches. He towered over me and made me look like a kid. I watched in silence as his dark eyebrow raised at my words, his eyes silently fuming. I kept my eyes trained on his own, but I noticed the muscle in his jaw moving. I guess he didn't like being disobeyed. Well, we're going to have to change that. His voice was cold as he analyzed me. I couldn't tell if I felt like a piece of meat or an innocent doe lined up for slaughter. If he wasn't so drop-dead hot, I'd tell him to go fuck himself. Luna rolled her eyes. Geez, you are worse than I am, I snickered. Yeah, that is doubtful. Luna smirked. Good luck. Again, my stupid lips uttered the words before I could think them through. His lips were pressed in a tight line and I desperately wanted to laugh. I expected a lot more from the deadliest of alphas. Good luck. Good luck. Are you trying to get us killed on our first day back? Luna snapped. You are the one who said you'd tell him to go fuck himself. I rolled my eyes at her. Well, I didn't, did I? Luna huffed. What is your name, pup? His cold voice growled. I ignored the fact that the hairs on my body were standing on end and answered the hot-blooded alpha. Lila, and yours. I smirked, already knowing his name by the dominance and authority he exuded. Your new alpha, he replied, gauging the reaction on my face. Did he really think I had no idea who he was? Well, who was I to ruin the fun? As if that wasn't obvious. Luna laughed. I let my smirk deepen. Ooh, really? I let fake shock fall over my face. I could see the anger flash in his eyes and I waited. Now, I don't normally have a death wish, but I already started off on a bad note. I could tell from a mile away that Alpha Rider was one of those typical alphas who wanted everyone to fall in line like good little subjects. I had a big problem with that, and it didn't help that I seemed to blurt out the first thing on my mind. I was surprised when Alpha Rider turned away, facing the other wolves in training. "Attention, everyone," Alpha Rider snapped. In an instant, everyone's eyes were on Alpha Rider and I. I refused to cringe under the attention. Alpha Rider's voice took on a rough quality, one that nearly made me shiver. I couldn't help but notice Owen's fear-stricken eyes on me, wondering what the hell I was doing. Lila decided sleeping in was more important than attending training today. Unfortunately, we no longer have anyone available for her to partner up with. Alpha Rider's deep voice rumbled over everyone, commanding our full attention. I let the little glimmer of hope blossom inside of me. Maybe I'd be able to just sit out today. Not to worry, I will be Lila's partner. Alpha Rider's harsh words were like a bucket of cold water. "Shit, you've really done it now," Luna groaned. "Crap, what do I do?" I asked her. Try not to die." Luna shrugged. "Thank you for your infinite wisdom, Luna." I rolled my eyes at her. "It is not a problem I live to serve." She snickered. "But for real, try not to die. You know how to fight. You'll never win, but you can still put up a fight." She shrugged. Everyone began training at Alpha Rider's words. Owen sent me one last pity and panic-filled glance before he turned back to his opponent. I huffed and turned to look at Alpha Rider. I wanted a good look at the guy. Much to my dismay, my jaw dropped. Alpha Rider had to have been the most attractive male I had ever seen. His hair was the color of molten chocolate, short but also intoxicatingly messy. I tried not to drool as he slipped his shirt off, revealing a scarred but chiseled chest. "Close your mouth, Lila," Alpha Rider snapped, and I rolled my eyes at him. I could hear the growl rumble in his chest, and I mentally slapped myself. "You really shouldn't keep pissing the dude off. You are about to fight him." Luna sighed, but I could tell she was enjoying my resistance. Yeah, I know," I grumbled. Before I had the chance to react, Alpha Rider had launched himself at me. I grunted as his fist connected with my stomach, forcing me backwards. I could feel myself losing balance as he came in for another strike. I let gravity take me backwards and rolled out of his way just in time to dodge another punch. I got to my feet and shook off the pain. This was the same as training with Harlan. I could do this. I couldn't let his impeccable god-like looks distract me. I watched as he lunged forward, his arm extending to throw a punch. I feigned, turning left only to roll under his legs and launch myself at his back. I clung to his back for dear life. At one point, I almost started laughing. He looked like a miniature backpack on him. I jumped off his back just in time for him to roll across the ground. "That would have hurt," Luna muttered, knowing he intended to do that with us still locked on his back. If that hurt Alpha Rider, he showed no signs of it. "You are fast," Alpha Rider pointed out, throwing a couple more hits to my face and body, which thankfully I managed to dodge. This guy was fast. Faster than Harlan, and that was really saying something. "I am, and you hit hard," I snapped, dodging another punch. I didn't move fast enough and winced as his fist grazed my hip. I wasn't sure how long I spent dodging Alpha Rider's kicks and blows. By the time Rider stopped attacking me, I was completely exhausted. While I managed to dodge some of his hits, he was way faster than the normal werewolf. My entire body ached and groaned. Alpha Rider was absolutely lethal. He must have been good at controlling his anger, because he had at least 35 openings to kill me. Just as I was about to leave with the rest of the group, Alpha Rider cut me off. He stood in front of me, his arms crossed against his chest. He had slipped his shirt back on after training, peeling my eyes away from the bulging veins on his arms. I looked into his toffee-colored eyes. "Did you learn something today, Lila?" His rough voice was cold and almost condescending. Again, it seemed as though I had no self-control around him. My lips spoke the words before my brain had a chance to catch up. "Yeah, your nose twitches before you throw a punch," I said deadpan. I watched as flecks of gold swirled in his eyes and wondered if his wolf were close to surfacing. I could feel my heart pounding, and I don't think it was from the hours of training I just went through. "Are you purposely disobedient, or is this just something you enjoy doing?" The muscles in jaw were moving again as he gave me a strange look. "It is just one of my very attractive qualities. I shrugged and turned on my heel before I could say anything. That really pissed him off. I collapsed in a heap on the couch, waking my dad from his recliner with a startled grunt. "I see training went well," he grumbled. "I see you are still alive," as if it were an achievement. "My body hurts," I groaned, flopping my head back on the couch. Alpha was Lila's partner for the day. Owen smirked, but he also seemed relieved. "Shut up and let me suffer in silence," I grumbled, happily accepting the cookie my grandmother offered me. "Don't be late tomorrow and maybe it won't happen again," Owen smirked. "Tomorrow?" I moaned. I had completely acted out today, not even thinking about tomorrow. Great. I stayed on the couch, wallowing in my pain until the smell of dinner lifted my spirits. My grandma was cooking again, and as much as my dad protested, I could tell he had missed her cooking. We sat around the table eating dinner and exchanging stories. Dad wanted to know all about what I had gotten into while I was gone. "So you already finished high school?" Owen asked. I could tell he was somewhat jealous. Owen graduated a year ago at the age of 18. While I was homeschooled, he was forced to go to the local public school. "Yup, I officially graduated," I teased, sticking my tongue out at him. My dad smiled at us as we bickered. "Now only one more year to go and you can find your mate." My dad winked at me. My 19th birthday wasn't for a couple months now. From 18, every werewolf is able to sense their mate. That is, if they're within sniffing distance. Though I haven't. Geez, can you imagine that? Her mate is gonna have to put up with a lot. Owen smirked at me. I rolled my eyes at him. I am definitely not going to make it easy on him. "So who the hell trained you while you were gone? Alpha's been here for a week and I haven't seen anyone able to keep up with him." Owen frowned, obviously interested in my trainer. Me and my grandma met eyes just for a second. It didn't feel like I was keeping up with him. I shrugged, wincing at my sore shoulder. "You definitely were. Everyone else got pummeled bloody." Owen cringed. "He made each of us fight him one-on-one to see what we're capable of." "So that means he won't be my partner tomorrow?" I asked cheerfully. My dread about tomorrow was dissipating by the second. "I guess not." Owen shrugged. "Now, tell me, who's your trainer?" I stifled a nervous giggle, I replied. "Oh, just Grandma's neighbor. He is really skilled in jujitsu and stuff." I shrugged as if it weren't a big deal. I shot my grandma a sly look and she winked back at me. "Do you have any plans for the weekend, Lila?" My dad asked in between bites. Tomorrow was Friday, leaving Saturday and Sunday training. "Free?" "Not really. I don't exactly have friends here anymore." I shrugged. In fact, I hadn't had any friends all year. My only company had been Grandma, Harlan, and the employees of the supermarket we would often go to. I didn't feel the need to surround myself with people anymore. "You could always talk to Zara, no?" Owen shrugged as if it weren't a big deal. I sighed and bit my lip. "I don't know about that. She is probably still mad at me. I know I would be." Zara was one of my closest friends. But when Blake and I started dating, I set her to the side. Blake had his own group of friends that didn't care for Zara, and like an idiot, I chose them over her. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Owen shrugged. "I talked to her during practice and she asked how you had been. She said she felt terrible about what happened between you and Blake." "Really? She said that?" I felt myself smile in spite of everything. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to talk to her. "She did. It has been a year since then, Lila. She might have moved on from the past." Owen shrugged. After dinner, I hopped in the shower, practically swaying on my feet from exhaustion. As sore as I felt, I knew it would only be worse in the morning. I flopped down in my bed and heard something crinkle beneath me. Groaning ever so dramatically, I rolled over and picked up the crumpled piece of paper I had laid on. "Welcome home, Lila." The handwriting felt somewhat familiar, but I couldn't place where I had seen it before. "What the hell?" I mumbled, stuffing the note in one of my dresser drawers. "Weirdo." I shrugged it off, letting my exhaustion take over as I fell asleep on top of my covers. I awoke in the morning bright and early, actually having remembered to set an alarm on my phone. One less thing to be called out for. I slipped on a gray sports bra and a matching pair of shorts. I even managed to put my long hair in a neat ponytail. I arrived at the pack house just in time, feeling energized from breakfast and a full night of sleep. I made my way over to the rest of the trainees. As always, the large room we trained in was bare. Only thin foam flooring protected us from the hard floor underneath. "I see you are not late today." Owen smirked at me. I smirked back. I am the poster child for responsibility. "Hey, Lila." A feminine voice called out to me. I turned and looked into a pair of familiar dark eyes. Zara gave me a small smile. I noticed how different she actually looked. Her dirty blonde hair was cropped short in one of those pixie cuts. "Hey, Zara, good to see you." I smiled back at her. She gave me a small smile and a nod. "You did good yesterday." I scoffed playfully. Tell that to my sore body. I ran to the locker room and shoved my bag inside one of the lockers, rushing to get back before training started. "Attention, everyone." Alpha Rider's deep voice called out. Not that I'd ever admit this, but his voice alone was incredible. His voice demanded your attention, while his words demanded your obedience. "Pair off with your partners. You will each take turns switching between offensive and defensive moves. Alexander and Jax will provide help." Alpha Rider called out to all of us. "He looks even better today." Luna smirked. "Hush, we're supposed to be paying attention." I grumbled at her. I let my eyes drift from his untidy hair to his honeycomb eyes. He really did look good today. He wore a simple black t-shirt and a pair of loose out shorts. Once he was finished speaking, everyone paired off into their groups. I stifled a groan as I saw Alpha Rider make his way over to me. "I see you've managed to arrive on time today." His honeycomb eyes stared down at me, not conveying a single emotion. My eyes flickered to his chiseled jaw, and I noticed the muscle in his jaw was still. I couldn't help but wonder if it only moved when he was pissed. "You are going to test that theory, aren't you?" Luna sighed, shaking her head. "Don't tell me you aren't curious." I smirked when she remained silent. "Unfortunate, isn't it?" I sighed, batting my eyelashes at his unwavering face. My stomach did a little flip when he ran his fingers through his tousled hair, keeping a straight face as he looked on at me. "Start with defense," his rough voice commanded me, and I huffed at him. Before I had the chance to take a damn breath, he was charging at me like a freight train. Defense is my stronger point. I am small and fast, so I can typically get out of situations easily. Fighting against Alpha Rider was an entirely different story. Every single move he made was calculated specifically for me. It was like he instantly knew his opponent's weaknesses and adjusted his technique to use it against him. The only thing I had against Alpha Rider was my agility. I had taken gymnastics until I was 14, and still practiced what I had learned. Agility would have been more helpful if Alpha Rider wasn't so damn fast. After what felt like hours, we switched to offense. I found it harder and harder to focus on training when this god, like man, was trying to kill me. Even when he was being murderous, he looked good. "You need to gain muscle. I can hardly feel your blows," Alpha Rider snapped, pulling me from my creepy thoughts about him. I groaned and rolled my eyes at him. "I am only 105 pounds. There is only so much muscle I can have on my body. Not all of us can walk around jacked. If you fought as well as you talked, you may actually be a match for me," Alpha Rider said in a cold voice. I ground my teeth together, trying to fight past the anger that boiled in my veins. I felt my fists clench and my fury take control. There was nothing I hated more than being treated as weak. Blake would never let me start training, insisting I was too small to survive in a real fight. Joke's on him. Channeling my anger, I lunged at Alpha Rider. I managed to easily dodge his attempt at slamming me to the ground. Rolling to the side and jumping to my feet, I swung my fist at the side of his face. I used all the strength I had in my body. I smiled as my fist made contact with Alpha Rider's cheek. I also could have swore I broke my knuckle. Much to my dismay, Alpha Rider looked completely unfazed. Training had ended, and after some weary glances in our direction, everyone either headed to the locker rooms or out the main door. He gave me a strange, speculating look and nodded once. "Much better," he grunted, showing none of the signs of pain I had hoped for. "Your anger makes you stronger," Alpha Rider pointed out. His honey eyes had gold flecks swimming within them. Unable to hold the words back, I smirked. "Thanks, I was thinking about you." Before Alpha Rider could respond, I ran to the locker room. All of the girls were clearing out rapidly, and I grabbed the clean clothes from my bag. I cursed, noticing I had forgotten to grab a regular bra. I slipped my sweat-soaked sports bra off and slipped a t-shirt on. I swapped my work-out shorts for a simple pair of jean shorts. I slammed the locker shut and turned around, nearly toppling over. Alpha Rider stood a few inches away from me. His cold stare made me gulp. I felt my back hit the lockers as Alpha Rider took a step forward. "Do you get a kick out of being disobedient?" His voice was quiet and rough. His eyes swirled with gold, making them even more mesmerizing. I took a slow breath, noticing how good he smelled. Husky from training yet earthy, the smell of sweat and cologne mixed to create something entirely new. I smirked up at him, hoping he couldn't hear my rapid heartbeat. I get a kick out of a lot of things. Being disobedient is just a personality trait of mine. "You will obey your alpha," Alpha Rider snapped, and I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. "Don't you dare, Lila," Luna snapped, knowing what I was about to say. "And if I don't," I teased, keeping my eyes locked on the golden flecks that swirled in his orbs. "Oops, too late," I snickered at Luna. "If he kills us, I am never talking to you again." Luna growled. Alpha Rider took another step forward, and I could feel his chiseled abdomen against my chest. I found myself wanting to look down at his lips and instantly rejected the idea. Now wasn't the time to act like a dog in heat. I was playing with fire and I needed my wits. I felt my nips stiffen as they brushed against Alpha Rider's abdomen, and I resisted the urge to cringe. My stupid body was reacting in a way I hadn't expected. Alpha Rider's gaze never left my own, but I was almost positive he could feel my hardened nips grazing against him. "Don't test my patience, Lila," Alpha Rider snapped, but I held my ground. For a second, I worried I had pushed him too far, but not a single one of my instincts thought he was going to hurt me. For whatever reason, I felt safe. That thought didn't make me magically like Alpha Rider, though. I knew who I was toying with, and sooner or later it may come back and bite me. I tried not to freak out as I realized how close he was to me. I could feel his breath fanning my face. "My apologies, Alpha," I smirked, batting my eyelashes. His eyes had progressively gotten more gold, and I let out a fast breath when he turned away and stormed out of the locker room. "You got lucky," Luna huffed. "I don't know about that," I mused. He didn't seem like he was going to hurt us. After taking a few much-needed moments to calm my hammering heart, I left the locker room and headed outside. I gulped the fresh air and let the breeze cool my heated skin. "What the hell was that about?" Luna murmured, referring to my uncontrollable body parts. I shrugged. "I have no idea. Can't really blame me, though. He is smoking hot." "You are right there." Luna smirked. "And a nice ass," I scoffed. "You mean he is an ass? Well, if it isn't Lila. Never thought I'd see your face again." A cocky voice called out. I grimaced as Derek made his way up to me. Derek didn't seem to change at all. He still had that lanky build with hints of muscle, and his blonde, slicked-back hair. He looked just as sleazy as ever. "Derek, so good to see you," I said sarcastically, rolling my eyes at his stupid smirk. I walked away and groaned as he followed. "Your legs are too short. There is no escaping me." Derek smirked proudly, and I stifled a gag. "Unfortunately," I muttered. I remembered very clearly his smug look when Blake found his mate and left me in the dust. He was always encouraging Blake to go out and try new girls. Thinking back on it, Blake probably did cheat on me. Not that it mattered anymore. Derek smirked, walking much too close to me. So how are you doing since the whole Blake thing? Kind of embarrassing, huh? His mocking tone made my blood boil and I came to a halt. Listen here, I growled, taking a step closer. It has been a year, an entire fucking year. Now back the hell off before I knock your teeth out. I spat. I turned on my heel and left Derek's annoying face in the dust. Ooh, she is still feisty. I heard his voice call out, and I flipped him the bird as I walked away. Still annoying as ever, isn't he? Zara rolled her eyes, making me jump. I had been so wrapped up in my thoughts that I hadn't noticed her standing there. Insufferable. I feel awful for his future mate. I rolled my eyes, refusing to glance in his direction. Zara gave me a small smile. So where are you headed? Oh, I am just going home, I shrugged, glancing at her. I couldn't help the guilt that swirled around me when I thought of her. What kind of best friend drops you for an asshole boyfriend? My house is on the way. Mind if I walk with you? She smiled. Not at all. I was kind of surprised, but I knew I needed to apologize for what had happened between us. Look, I am sorry, okay? You know I am not good with apologies, but I am sorry for being the worst friend ever. I frowned. Judging from the look on her face, I definitely caught her by surprise. I forgave you when I found out what happened between you and Blake. She shrugged, as if it were no big deal. That was always one of my favorite things about Zara. She never made a big deal out of things, and she wasn't one for drama or gossip. It sucked at the time, but I honestly feel lucky. I scoffed, trying to imagine myself as Blake's Luna. Zara chuckled. As mean as this may sound, losing Blake was the best thing that ever happened to you. You were always way too good for him. Well, thank you for that. I elbowed her side and gave her a playful smile. For once, the thought of leaving and going back to Grandma's wasn't so appealing. With Blake gone, I felt like I could actually start over here. The only thing that would have made it better was my mom. The thought sent a sharp pang running through me. So fill me in. What has life been like since I left? I asked, and listened intently as she gave me a rundown. Zara told me how her older sister had finally found her mate in a neighboring pack, and was currently pregnant with her first child. Only a handful of our pack members actually died in the fight, my mom included. Alpha Rider was quick to end the fighting once our side surrendered, and once he realized our Alpha had abandoned them. I hadn't realized before, but some part of me blamed Alpha Rider for the death of my mom. I knew it wasn't directly his fault, but the blame was still there. The rest of the blame placed directly on Blake's shoulders. So, are you excited to find your mate? I smirked at her, watching a light blush fill her cheeks. She shrugged. I am not pressed about it. I could tell there was something she wasn't telling me, but I let it slide for now. So what have you been up to? She quickly changed the subject. I gave her the very short rundown of what my year consisted of. While it sounded boring, it had been the best year of my short life. So does that mean you can kick all of our asses now? Zara chuckled, referring to the intensive training I went through for a year. I giggled. I'd sure like to think so. You held up against Alpha Rider pretty well, she shrugged. You think so? Owen said the same. I frowned. Did getting punched and kicked over 100 times classify as good fighting? Zara shuddered. Yeah, that is actually really good. Alpha Rider fights like a damn monster. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, neither have I. I shook my head, wondering if Alpha Rider was on some kind of magical werewolf steroids or something. As far as I knew, nothing like that existed, but I still wondered. Did you see Tessa earlier at training? Zara snorted, gauging my reaction on my old friend. My eyes widened. Tessa was in training? I hadn't even seen her. I shrugged, thinking back on my old friend. Yup, she is obsessed with Alpha Rider. Zara rolled her eyes. She hasn't changed at all. Her words made me feel funny for some reason. She really hasn't, I frowned. She was always obsessed with Blake. She wants to be Luna. Zara shook her head. I shuddered at the thought of Tessa becoming Luna. That would be wonderful, I said sarcastically. Zara chuckled. Even the old you would have made a better Luna than her. I gave her a smirk. Why, thank you for that, but I am done with alphas. I shook my head. Are you sure about that? Zara giggled. What was up with you and Alpha Rider? I shrugged. I just piss him off. He wants me to be obedient. I rolled my eyes. I may be a werewolf, but I am not a damn dog. Lila the golden retriever had a good ring to it, but I think I'd look better as a husky. I am surprised he hasn't killed you yet. Zara shook her head at my stupidity. I shrugged. The guy's like 6'3" and almost 200 pounds. He probably just doesn't see me as a threat. That is true, Zara snorted. You looked like a kid when you trained with him, she cackled. Not everyone can be 5'8" with long legs, ma'am. I grumbled at her, but a smile quickly formed on my face when Zara struck a pose. If you keep complimenting me like that, I am gonna start thinking you are my mate. She cackled, and I could stifle my giggles. Zara invited herself over for dinner at my house, and I didn't mind one bit. Zara had met my grandma a handful of times when we were kids, and she loved the woman. Grandma loved Zara's honesty and bluntness. Grandma always said Zara and I were practically sisters with the way we act. We all sat around the table and ate the dinner Grandma had made. Dad was looking so much better. His skin wasn't translucent like it had been. Owen teased me for being stuck with Alpha Rider again while my dad feared for my safety. I tried to assure him Alpha Rider wouldn't kill me, but he didn't buy it. I kept my disobedient behavior towards our Alpha quiet. The last thing I needed was Dad and Owen finding out. They'd think I had some kind of death wish. Zara and I made plans Sunday to hang out, and maybe grab some lunch at the cafe in town. I rolled into bed after dinner sore as all hell. While it was only 7 p.m., I wanted a head start on going to bed. I was looking forward to sleeping in my Saturday morning away. I realized the full extent of my bad luck when an annoyingly attractive voice rang out in my head. Lila, report to my office at 9 a.m. Alpha Rider's rough voice spoke through the mind. Link. Come on, Alpha, I groaned. It'll be Saturday. 9 a.m., Lila. His rough voice growled and ended the mind. Link. I grumbled and turned over in bed and let sleep claim me. Saturday would have been so much easier if I had just remembered to set a damn alarm. I rolled over in bed with a sleepy moan. I was having the most wonderful dream that involved several underdressed men, one of which may or may not have resembled Alpha Rider. I didn't care about the details. My eyes fluttered open and my sleepy yawn filled the air. That had been the best night of sleep I had in a long while. The events of yesterday had yet to catch up with me as I sat up in bed and stretched. Just as I was about to stand up from the bed, my eyes darted to a figure in the corner of my room. What the hell? I gasped, looking into the furious face of Alpha Rider. He was sitting in the corner of the room on a navy love seat my dad had gotten me when I was 13. You talk in your sleep, he spoke, his tone calm while his eyes continued to burn. He looked at me strangely and I wondered what I had said in my sleep. I didn't have to glance down to know that my nips had stiffened against my tank top. I wasn't wearing a bra, not that I needed to. Who sleeps in a bra? I snaked my hands up to cover my breasts as I glared at Alpha Rider. I was grateful I managed to fall asleep in a pair of sweats instead of my typical pair of underwear. Alpha Rider looked good. Being furious only made him hotter. He wore a simple black button-down shirt, but the sleeves were rolled up, exposing his muscular forearms. I sputtered, at a loss for words. What the hell are you doing in my room? I gasped. I could feel my face turning red. His face remained flat whilst his golden-flecked eyes burned with fury. 9 am Lila. He repeated those familiar words, and I felt my body stiffen as I remembered last night's events. I let my eyes flicker to the alarm clock by my bed and went wide-eyed when I looked at the time. 11 am, we're in deep shit, Luna muttered sleepily. I should feel frightened. Right? I've been pissing off the deadliest Alpha for 3 days now, and yet I was still alive. As if Alpha Rider could read my mind, he stood from his seat in the corner and walked towards me. I kept my face blank, my eyes taking in every inch of him. He took his time approaching me, like a wolf stalking at his kill. You couldn't set a simple alarm, Lila. Alpha Rider's voice was hard. and I tried not to be mesmerized by the golden flakes in his eyes. I wasn't sure why I was so unable to control my mouth around him. Even with the hairs on my body standing on end, I only felt one thing: excitement. I forgot? I bit my lip sheepishly. We're dead. Luna groaned. You and your big mouth killed us. So dramatic, Luna. I rolled my eyes at her. A startled squeal left my lips as Alpha Rider shoved me against my bedroom wall. The pictures hanging on the wall rattled with the impact. His rough hands yanked my arms down and away from my breasts, but his eyes never left my own. Something had to be wrong with me. Instead of feeling afraid, I felt angry. If he thought he could manhandle me into obedience, he had another thing coming. You are testing my fucking patience, Lila, Alpha Rider growled. His eyes had become completely gold, and I stared into their depths, unwavering. He towered over me as I was trapped against the wall. His earthy cologne scent was everywhere. It wasn't that it didn't smell good, it was just really strong. My heart nearly stopped in my chest when I felt his giant hand wrap around my throat. I stubbornly kept my eyes on his. There was no way in hell I was going to submit. Naturally, Luna squirmed at my defiance. It was against her nature to disobey her alpha. This is your last chance, Lila. Alpha Rider growled, sending a wave of excitement down my spine. Any control I had over my body wavered. I could feel my hard nips pressing against him and gritted my teeth as a new sensation formed between my legs. My insides churned at the thought of him being able to smell my arousal. I told myself it was only natural that I was attracted to him. He was breathtakingly gorgeous and an alpha. Wolves were naturally attracted to the strongest of our species. His golden eyes conveyed no emotion other than anger as he looked down at me. I didn't fight it when a smirk formed on my lips. I let my eyes widen in mock fear. My last chance, huh? Alpha Rider leaned his face into mine. His furious eyes locked on my own. His lips were only inches away, and I resisted the insane urge to look down at them. Next time you will be punished, and I will not be gentle. Remember that the next time you disobey me, Alpha Rider growled, sending a wave of excitement down my spine. I almost felt disappointed when he pulled away and opened my bedroom door. You start patrol Monday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. report at the Southwest base. Do not be late. His voice was deadly calm, and my bedroom door clicked shut quietly. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. My mind was churning. I chalked my arousal up to Alpha Rider's god-like looks. Something within me was attracted to the thought of being punished by Alpha Rider. I shook the dirty thoughts from my head and hopped in the shower. Once I was finally dressed, I came downstairs. The smell of my grandma's lavender pancakes wafted around the house. I know it sounds weird, but lavender is amazing in just about anything. What did Alpha Rider need you for? My dad frowned. Strange that he came all the way over here. Well, I trailed off, wondering if I should lie. He kind of told me to report to his office this morning, and I didn't. I smiled sheepishly at my dad's outraged expression. Are you trying to get yourself killed, Lila? My dad nearly shouted. It was just a misunderstanding, I shrugged. I forgot to set an alarm. Was he angry with you? Did he hurt you? My dad bombarded me with questions. No way I was going to tell him the truth about what happened in my room. He was angry, but he didn't hurt me. I shrugged. I could practically feel his hand still wrapped around my neck. My dad let out a weary sigh. You need to be more careful, Lila. I nodded. I know, Dad. I will, I promise. I added for his benefit. My grandma shot me a sly smirk, and I wondered what that was about. Owen came downstairs shortly after, and he too had asked why Alpha Rider had come for a visit. He was just as amused as Dad was. I ended up stopping by the local coffee shop after breakfast, craving one of the iced mochas they were famous for. When Zara and I were still best friends, we would come here at least 3 times a week. I sipped my coffee and nearly moaned at the taste. The only thing lacking Grandma's little cottage was the short supply of coffee. I nearly spat out my coffee when I heard a nasal laugh call out behind me. I I turned around and locked eyes with Tessa. She definitely looked the same, and I wondered if anyone had actually changed around here. Her skin was still as tan as ever, and her sandy blonde hair reached down to her collarbones. She didn't seem surprised to see me, and I remembered she was in training with the rest of us. A mean smirk formed on her face as she walked up to me, a dark-haired girl clinging at her side. "Lila, never thought I'd see you again." She smiled cruelly. The dark-haired girl at her side snickered. I smirked at the two of them and shrugged. "Well, I am back. Whatever, I'd say welcome back and all that shit, but I really don't care." She shrugged. I couldn't believe I was ever friends with her, I snorted. Good to see some things never change. Her fake smile became mean in an instant, and like a startled cat she lashed out. "That makes one of us. Everything's changed for you though, hasn't it? No longer the Alpha's favorite. Thank God you didn't become Luna. Goddess only knows how I managed to put up with you." I rolled my eyes. "Changed for the better, you mean? I don't need to be with an Alpha to know my worth. That is something you should try and live by." I turned around and headed back to the town square, ignoring the stares of some of the people around town. I walked into the town center and sat down on a bench. I sipped my coffee and let my eyes wander over the large fountain in the middle of the square. From afar, this town looks quaint and normal. If only the humans knew what really lived here. As always, my peace was interrupted. "Hey, Lila." Derek's cocky voice called out. I rolled my eyes and began to stand from the bench. "Simon, Lila, you don't have to leave. Can't we just have a normal conversation?" Derek frowned. I gave him a scrutinizing look. Derek wasn't one for normal conversations. "Sure, whatever. But the minute you get all douche, like, I am leaving." I shrugged, but definitely didn't let my guard down. You know I was just playing about yesterday," Derek teased, and I rolled my eyes. "Sure you were," I muttered, sipping on my coffee. Derek plopped down on the bench next to me and leaned back. I gave him a what the fuck look when he let his arm rest on the bench behind me. "So, what have you been up to this past year?" He shot me a smirk. "Went to my grandma's, trained and graduated high school." I shrugged. Derek frowned. "You know, Blake was actually distraught when he heard you left. He tried to figure out where you went, but your folks wouldn't tell him anything." That small, shriveled part of my heart that once loved Blake squeezed at what Derek had said. But my mind knew better. Blake tossed me away like trash, and his friends did the same. It was pathetic irony that Blake tossed his own pack away as well. I rolled my eyes at Derek. "Look, I genuinely don't care. I don't see how hard to understand." I could feel someone's eyes on me and looked around to find the source. I locked eyes with Alpha Rider, who stood across the town square talking to a couple men. I assumed the men weren't new additions to his pack due to the scars that littered their body. Was everyone in Alpha Rider's pack so scary looking? Derek's voice pulled my eyes away from Alpha Rider's. Derek leaned closer to me, invading my personal space. Invading someone's personal space wasn't Derek's specialty. "So, you've really moved on, huh?" Derek asked, his eyes roaming my face as though he were searching for something. I shrugged. "Yep, you know, I never said this before, but I always kind of liked you." Derek gave me a lopsided smile. "Derek, you say that to every girl." I looked at him with a straight face. Derek acted like I wounded him. "I mean it with you, though. You are gorgeous, and you have a sexy body." I resisted the urge to gag. I officially had enough of this conversation. "Goodbye, Derek," I said sweetly, standing from the bench to walk away. I glanced over at Alpha Rider and felt a smug pang roll through me as I caught him looking. Derek muttered something under his breath loud enough for me to hear. "You never played this hard to get with Blake." Did he really just say that? Luna growled in my head. I could feel Luna try to push herself forward, and I reacted on instinct. I dumped my poor iced mocha down Derek's head. Luna howled with laughter while I mourned the loss of my coffee. "Fuck you, Derek." I gave him one last sweet smile. I could feel Alpha Rider's gaze burning into my back like a brand as I stormed away from the town square. The cool breeze did little to calm the heat rising in my cheeks. or the satisfaction bubbling in my chest. Dumping that coffee on Derek had been impulsive, sure, but goddess, it felt good. Luna was still howling with laughter in my head, her wolfish glee echoing my own. "That is my girl," she purred. "Remind me never to piss you off when you are caffeinated." But as I rounded the corner toward home, the thrill faded, replaced by a nagging unease. Why had Ryder been watching, and why did it send a shiver down my spine that wasn't entirely from fear? I shook it off. No time for distractions. Patrol started Monday, and I had a feeling Ryder wouldn't let me forget my disobedience. Anytime soon. Little did I know, that moment in the square was just the spark. The fire was about to ignite. The walk home felt longer than usual, my mind replaying the scene with Derek over and over. His smug face, the sticky coffee dripping down his slicked back hair. It was almost poetic justice. But Derek's words lingered like a bad aftertaste. "You never played this hard to get with Blake." As if I were some prize to be won, discarded, and reclaimed. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. Blake. The name still twisted something inside me, but not like before. Not with longing. Now it was just anger. A dull ache, reminding me how far I'd come. By the time I reached the house, the sun was dipping low, casting long shadows over the wilted flower beds. Grandma and I had revived. Dad's truck was parked out front, and the scent of fresh-baked apple pie wafted from the open window. Grandma's specialty, her way of soothing the chaos. I pushed open the door, kicking off my shoes. "Lila, that you?" Dad's voice called from the living room, gruff but warm. "Yeah, Dad, just me." I poked my head in, forcing a smile. He was in his recliner, a newspaper spread across his lap, but his eyes were distant. Owen's death had hit him hard. No, wait. Owen was alive. Mom's death, the thought corrected itself like a slap. It had been Mom fighting in that senseless war Blake started and abandoned. Dad looked older these days, lines etched deeper around his eyes. "Good day?" he asked, folding the paper. "Eventful," I shrugged, not wanting to dive into the Derek drama. "Ran into some old faces." He nodded, but his gaze sharpened. "Anyone give you trouble?" "Nah, handled it." I flashed a grin, but inside, Luna's hackles rose. She sensed the lie. Not trouble. Exactly, but something brewing. Grandma emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. Her silver eyes twinkled with that knowing look. "Dinner's almost ready. Wash up, dear, and tell me, how was your coffee run?" I laughed, the tension easing. "Short. Lived, spilled it on an idiot." She cackled, pulling me into a hug that smelled of lavender and cinnamon. "That is my girl now. Set the table." Dinner was a quiet affair. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and pie for dessert. Dad shared pack updates. Border patrols were tightening due to rogue sightings, and Alpha Rider was implementing new training protocols. Owen was out on duty, but he'd swing by later. I nodded along, my mind wandering back to Ryder's stare. Why did it unsettle me so much? He was just an alpha, arrogant, controlling, drop-dead gorgeous. Okay, maybe not just after dinner. I retreated to my room, flopping onto the bed. The note from yesterday crinkled under my pillow, the one that said, "Welcome home, Lila." I pulled it out, frowning at the familiar handwriting. Who left it? Blake? No. He was long gone, Derek. Too sleazy. I shoved it back in the drawer, dismissing it. Sleep came fitfully, dreams haunted by golden eyes and shadowed figures. Morning brought Sunday, my day with Sarah. We met at the cafe, the same one where we'd gossip as kids. She looked radiant, her pixie cut framing her face, but there was a shadow in her eyes. "Spill," I said, over muffins and tea. "What is bothering you?" She sighed, stirring her drink. "It is nothing, just mate stuff. Haven't found mine yet, and Mom's pressuring me." I squeezed her hand. "You'll find them, and if not, who needs a mate? We're badass on our own." She laughed, but it didn't reach her eyes. We spent the day wandering the woods, reminiscing by afternoon. We were deep in pack territory, the trees whispering secrets. That is when we heard it, a low growl, followed by rustling. Rogues, Luna tensed. We crouched, peering through the foliage. 3 wolves, mangy, eyes wild, circled a clearing, not pack, intruders. Zara, run back and alert the patrol, I whispered. She hesitated. What about you? I'll distract them. Go! She bolted, and I shifted, Luna surging forward. Fur rippled over my skin, bones cracking into place. I lunged, snarling. The rogues turned, charging. I dodged the first, raking claws across its flank. The second bit my shoulder. Pain flared, but I twisted, sinking teeth into its leg. The third leaped, but a thunderous roar shook the trees. Alpha Rider burst into the clearing, his massive black wolf form a blur. He tore into the rogues like a storm, dispatching 2 in seconds. The third fled, but Rider pursued, vanishing into the underbrush. I shifted back, panting, blood trickling from my wound. Zara returned with reinforcements, Owen and a few warriors. Lila, you okay? Fine, I gasped. But dizziness hit as Ryder reappeared. Human now, shirtless and bloodied. His eyes locked on my injury, fury blazing. What the hell were you thinking, saving the day? I quipped, but my voice wavered. He scooped me up without a word, carrying me back. You are reckless, and you are bossy, I muttered, but his warmth seeped into me, stirring something dangerous. At the pack house infirmary, the healer bandaged me. Ryder hovered, barking orders. Patrol doubles tonight, and you. He turned to me, eyes gold flecked. Report to my office tomorrow before patrol. Greet. More trouble. That night, as I lay in bed, a new note appeared on my nightstand. You are stronger than you know. Watch your back. The handwriting, still familiar, but elusive. Monday dawned gray. Training was brutal. Ryder paired me with a hulking warrior named Brock, who grinned like he enjoyed pain. I held my own, dodging and striking, but my shoulder throbbed. Ryder watched, arms crossed, his presence a distraction. After, in his office, a stark room with maps and weapons, he paced. You could have been killed yesterday. But I wasn't. I met his gaze. I can handle myself. He stopped, inches away. You are under my protection now, no more heroics. Heat flared between us. I don't need your protection. His hand grazed my arm, sending sparks. You will obey, Lila. Before I could retort, he dismissed me. Patrol that evening was tense. Shadows moved at the borders, whispers of Blake's return. Derek lurked, smirking, but kept distance. As days blurred, tension built. Ryder's commands clashed with my independence, but stolen glances hinted at more. One night, during a storm, I found him alone in the woods, rain slicking his skin. Why do you fight me? He growled. Because I won't break, I replied. He pulled me close, lips brushing mine, a almost kiss that ignited fire, but he pulled away. This can't happen. Why not? The question haunted me. The almost kiss lingered, like a phantom touch, replaying in my mind as I tossed in bed. Rain pounded the roof, mirroring the storm in my chest. Alpha Rider, untouchable, infuriating, had cracked, if only for a second. Luna paced restlessly in my head. He is our Alpha, Lila, but that pull, it is not just respect. Shut up, I grumbled. He is off limits, arrogant prick. But sleep evaded me. By dawn, the pack house buzzed with activity. Rumors swirled, rogues scouting borders, possibly linked to Blake's old allies. Dad warned me over breakfast, stay vigilant, kid. Things are heating up. Training intensified. Ryder drilled us mercilessly, his eyes often on me. Paired with Zara, I vented. He is driving me crazy. She smirked. Chemistry. More like combustion. I dodged her swipe, countering with a kick. Post-training. Tessa cornered me in the locker room, her fake smile venomous. Heard you played hero, trying to impress Ryder? I rolled my eyes. Jealous much. Her laugh was sharp. Please, he'll see you are just trash Blake dumped. Raj surged, but I walked away. No more coffee incidents. Yet. Patrol that night paired me with Brock, the warrior from earlier. Broad-shouldered, scarred, he was surprisingly chatty. Alpha's got his eye on you, he teased. Yeah, to yell at me. We scanned the forest, scents sharp in the air. A twig snapped. We froze. 4 rogues emerged, eyes glowing, intruders. Brock mind linked the pack, the fight erupted. I shifted, Luna lunging. I took down 1, claws ripping fur. Brock handled 2, but the 4th charged me. Pain exploded as teeth sank into my hind leg. Ryder arrived like thunder, shredding the rogue. He shifted back, fury etched. Lila, I shifted, limping. I am fine. He carried me again to the healer. You are benched until healed. No way, I protested. His eyes softened briefly. I can't lose you. The words hung heavy in his office later. Tension crackled. Why do you care? I demanded. He pinned me against the desk, breath hot. Because you are mine to protect. Our lips crashed, fierce, claiming. I melted, hands in his hair, but he pulled back. This is dangerous. Why? I whispered. I am Alpha, you are, defiant. But his touch lingered. Days passed in a haze. Notes continued. Danger approaches. Trust no one. I confided in Grandma. Summaries watching. She frowned. Old enemies, perhaps. Blake returned in whispers, rallying rogues for revenge. Owen confirmed. He is back, Lila. Wants the pack. Fear mixed with resolve, a midnight meeting with Ryder. We prepare for war. But stolen moments deepened, kisses in shadows, his hands exploring. I shouldn't want you, he growled. Too bad, I teased. Climax built a rogue ambush during patrol. I fought fiercely, saving Brock. Ryder praised me publicly. You are a warrior, Tessa seethed, plotting. Derek hovered, suspicious. One night. Alone, Ryder confessed. My mate died years ago. I never thought I'd feel again. Heart aching, I kissed him. I am here. But betrayal loomed, Derek revealed, as the note, Ryder, allied with Blake. The revelation about Derek hit like a thunderclap that night. After Ryder's confession in the rain, soaked woods, I couldn't shake the unease. The notes, cryptic warnings that had appeared on my nightstand, now made sense. Derek's sleazy smirks, his persistent hovering. He wasn't just a creep, he was a traitor. I confronted him the next day at the edge of the Packlands, where the forest met the river. You, the notes were from you, he grinned, unrepentant. Blake needs eyes inside, and you, Lila, you are the key to bringing Ryder down. Luna snarled. But before I could shift, warriors arrived, led by Owen. Derek was captured, but not before whispering, he is coming for you. Ryder's fury was palpable in the interrogation. Blake wants revenge, and he is not alone. The fire ignited, pulling us deeper into danger, and closer together. The pack house loomed like a sentinel under the moonlit sky, its stone walls echoing with the low murmurs of warriors returning from patrol. I paced the hallway outside Ryder's office, my heart pounding not from fear, but from the electric charge that had lingered since our kiss in the woods. His confession replayed in my mind. His first mate, lost to a rogue attack years ago, had left him scarred, unwilling to open up. Yet with me, he had. The door creaked open, and Ryder's golden eyes met mine. Lila, come in. Inside, maps sprawled across the desk, marked with red pins indicating rogue sightings. Derek sat chained in the corner, his usual cocky grin replaced by a defiant sneer. Owen stood guard, his face grim. You allied with Blake, Ryder growled, his voice low and lethal. Why? Derek laughed, a bitter sound. Blake's the true alpha. You stole his pack. And Lila, she was his first. He wants her back. My stomach twisted. Over my dead body. Ryder's hand brushed mine under the desk, a silent reassurance. But Derek's eyes gleamed. He has got help, vampires. They're coming for the borders. Vampires, the word hung heavy. Legends spoke of ancient feuds between wolves and bloodsuckers. But they were supposed to be myths, or at least distant threats. Ryder dismissed Derek to the cells, then turned to me. This changes everything. Blake's desperate if he is aligning with them. We spent hours strategizing, the tension between us thickening. As the night wore on, his hand found my waist. You should rest. Not without you, I whispered. Our lips met again, this time slower, exploring. His touch ignited sparks, Luna's approval humming in my veins. But duty called. A scout reported movement at the southern border. We shifted and ran, the pack following. In the clearing, 5 rogues waited, but one wasn't Wolf. Pale skin, red eyes, a vampire. The fight was brutal. I dodged fangs, raking claws across cold flesh. Ryder tore through them, but the vampire escaped, hissing, "The queen will rise." Queen, the word echoed as we returned, wounded but alive. Grandma waited at home, her eyes knowing. "There is something you need to know about your heritage, Lila," she revealed. My mother hadn't rejected her mate out of choice. Her true mate was a vampire lord who died protecting her. I was half vampire, my wolf side dominant, but the bloodline strong shock numbed me. Why hide this? To protect you. But now, with Blake stirring old enemies, your power might awaken. Tessa lurked, her jealousy palpable. Think you are special. Ryder will tire of you. I ignored her, focusing on the pull inside me, a strange hunger mixing with Luna's strength. Patrol brought more skirmishes. Rogues mixed with vampires, their attacks coordinated. Brock fell injured, but I saved him. My speed unnatural. Ryder pulled me aside after. You are changing, faster, stronger. It is the vampire side, I admitted. He cupped my face. Whatever you are mine. Our bond deepened, kisses turning to more, his hands exploring, my body responding, but whispers spread. Lila, the hybrid, a threat or savior. Blake sent a message via a captured rogue. Join me, Lila. Rule as my queen. I burned it, but doubt crept in. What if my heritage doomed the pack? Grandma trained me secretly, teaching blood magic basics. Control it, or it controls you. A full moon ritual revealed my powers. I healed a wounded warrior with a touch, drawing gasps. Ryder stood by me. We'll face this together. But as the chapter closed, a vampire scout infiltrated, whispering to me, Vance sends regards, the throne awaits. The infiltration shook the pack. Vance, who was he? The vampire escaped before capture, leaving chaos. Ryder locked down borders, his protectiveness bordering on overbearing. You stay inside until we know more. I can fight, I argued. His eyes flashed. I won't lose you too. The tension led to heated arguments, but always ended in passion. Our bodies entwined, marking each other in ways words couldn't. Grandma explained. Vance was my father's second, in command, a vampire prince. He seeks the heir, you, to claim the throne. Half vampire queen, the idea terrified and thrilled Luna. We could rule. But loyalty lay with the pack, with Ryder. Tessa spread rumors. Lila's a spy, her blood will betray us. A confrontation in training, she attacked. But my emerging powers let me dodge effortlessly, pinning her. Jealousy won't win you, Ryder. She was demoted, but her hatred festered. Blake attacked a outpost, killing 2. We retaliated, me leading a team. In the fray, my vampire side surged, fangs extended, strength tripled. I defeated a vampire leader, but the bloodlust scared me. Ryder found me, covered in blood. Come back to me. His kiss grounded me. The revelation about Derek had shattered the fragile peace we'd clawed back from the rogues. That night, after Ryder's confession in the rain-drenched woods, his voice breaking as he admitted his first mate had been torn apart by vampires in a brutal ambush, I couldn't shake the storm of emotions churning inside me. His hatred for vampires ran deep, a festering wound that had turned him into the ruthless alpha he was. Yet, here he was, holding me close, his golden eyes softening as he whispered, "I hate them, but I love you, all of you." It was a conflict, etched in his every touch. The war between his past scars and his growing bond with me, a hybrid whose very blood tied me to his enemies. But intimacy peaked that night, our bodies merging in a frenzy of need and release. In the dim light of his pack house quarters, his hands roamed my skin with a possessiveness that sent shivers through me. "Mate," Luna whispered in my mind, her voice a triumphant howl as Ryder's lips claimed mine, our souls bonding in a way that transcended words. It was our first true night together, a clash of passion and vulnerability, his dominance clashing with my defiance, yet yielding to something deeper. We moved as one, bodies slick with sweat, hearts pounding in sync. But even in ecstasy, conflict lingered. Could a wolf alpha truly love a half-vampire? The official mating ceremony was planned for the full moon, a grand affair under the stars where the pack would witness our union. But fate, cruel as ever, interrupted. A truce flag appeared at the borders, white silk fluttering in the wind carried by a lone figure. Vance arrived at dawn, tall and dark, his compelling presence like a shadow given form. His skin was pale as moonlight, eyes a piercing crimson that seemed to see through me. He bowed low, his voice smooth as silk yet edged with urgency. "Princess Lila, your father's throne is vacant. The vampires need you to stop the war." The pack tensed, warriors growling as Ryder stepped forward, his body a wall between me and this intruder. Blake, it turned out, had allied with rogue vampires, promising them territory in exchange for their fangs and ferocity. The conflict exploded in my chest. Refuse, and risk escalating the war, accept and betray my wolf heritage. "I refuse," I spat, Luna's snarl echoing my words, but Vance's warning cut deep. "Your power awakens. Without control, you'll destroy everything." His eyes lingered on me, a subtle pull that made Ryder's jealousy flare. Visible in the tightening of his jaw, the possessive grip on my arm. Training with Vance began in secret, hidden in the misty depths of the forest at midnight. He taught me to balance wolf and vampire, channeling the bloodlust into controlled bursts of speed, drawing on shadows for stealth. "Feel the hunger," he murmured, his hand guiding mine as dark energy coiled around my fingers. But Ryder's trust wavered, jealousy gnawed at him like a persistent thorn. "He is too close to you," he growled one night, pinning me against a tree after spotting us. Our argument raged, his fear of losing me clashing with my need for power, resolved only in fierce passion, bodies colliding under the stars. The betrayal hit hardest when Ethan, another old friend from my Blake days, was exposed. He'd been leaking plans to Blake, driven by lingering loyalty and resentment toward Ryder's takeover. The conflict tore at old wounds. Ethan, once a brother, in arms, now a traitor whispering secrets that endangered us all. Battle ensued at the eastern border, a chaotic clash of fur, fangs, and fury. Rogues swarmed, bolstered by Blake's rogues. I tapped into my hybrid powers for the first time in full force, healing allies with a touch of crimson energy, draining enemies' life force until they crumpled like wilted leaves. The sight horrified some pack members, whispers of monster rippling through the ranks, creating internal conflict within the pack. Victory came at a cost. Wounds littered the field, and Blake escaped into the shadows, his mocking laughter echoing. In the aftermath, Ryder dropped to one knee amid the blood-soaked earth. "Be my Luna, my queen," he proposed, his voice raw. "Yes," I whispered, but war loomed larger than ever, a dark cloud threatening to consume us. The mating ceremony unfolded under a canopy of stars. The pack gathered in a sacred clearing ringed by ancient oaks. Torches flickered, casting dancing shadows as Ryder and I stood before the elder, our hands bound with silver vines. The air hummed with anticipation, but underlying tension simmered. Some wolves eyed me warily, my hybrid nature a point of conflict. Ryder marked me with a bite that sent ecstasy surging through our bond, power flooding my veins like liquid fire. The surge was overwhelming, a clash of wolf instincts and vampire essence that made me gasp. The pack cheering while doubts whispered in the background. But the honeymoon was short-lived, shattered by reports of witches entering the fray. Allied with Blake against the vampires, they wielded curses and illusions, turning the forest into a nightmare of twisting vines and phantom pains. The conflict escalated, wolves versus witches, old grudges igniting. Grandma pulled me aside in her herb-scented cottage, her eyes grave. Your vampire blood is tied to an ancient prophecy, a hybrid to unite or destroy realms. The revelation hit like a dagger. My existence was a fulcrum, balancing peace or apocalypse. Internal conflict raged. Embrace my full power and risk alienating the pack, or suppress it and weaken our defenses. Vance stayed as advisor, his presence a constant thorn in Ryder's side. "He is too close," Ryder growled during a heated council meeting, his golden eyes flashing as Vance outlined vampire strategies. The tension was palpable, jealousy sparking arguments that echoed through the pack house. "You train with him in secret. How do I know it is just training?" Ryder accused one stormy night, his hands gripping my shoulders. Our words clashed like swords, his possessiveness versus my independence, resolved only in bed, passion fierce and unrelenting, bodies entwining in a desperate bid for unity. Tessa's plot added fuel to the fire. Jealous of my bond with Ryder, she poisoned my food during a pack feast. The toxin, a slow-burning curse meant to mimic illness. I survived due to my hybrid resilience, the vampire blood neutralizing it, but the exposure was brutal. Confronting her in the training grounds, her eyes blazed with hatred. "You don't deserve him. You are a freak." The duel that followed was vicious, her claws raking air as my super speed dodged, ending with her exile. But the conflict lingered, her banishment divided loyalties, some sympathizing with her pure wolf heritage over my tainted blood. Rogue attacks intensified, waves of enemies crashing against our borders. I led missions into enemy territory, my powers growing, mind control, bending foes to reveal secrets, super speed blurring through ambushes. But each victory highlighted the divide. Pack members whispered about my unnatural abilities, fearing I'd turn vampire fully. The discovery of Mia shattered illusions. Blake's mate was a witch hybrid, manipulating him with spells that twisted his mind, infiltrating their camp under cover of night. I faced her in a hidden glade. "Join us, sister," she hissed, her eyes mirroring mine, crimson flecks in silver. The twist gutted me. Same father, different mothers. She was full vampire, witch, abandoned and bitter. Our duel was a storm of magic and fury, her spells clashing against my wolf strength, illusions shattering as I pinned her. She fled into the shadows, vowing revenge. Blake was captured briefly in the chaos, begging forgiveness on his knees. I was wrong, Lila. Manipulated, lost. But his betrayal ran too deep, a conflict of past love and present hatred, executed under Ryder's command. His death brought fragile peace, but vampires pledged allegiance to me as queen, straining Ryder's acceptance. "You are wolf first," he insisted, his voice cracking with fear. I balanced roles, Luna by day, guiding the pack, queen in shadows, negotiating with Vance. Yet, the divide threatened to fracture everything. The vampire court beckoned like a siren's call, pulling us from the familiar woods to an opulent castle perched on jagged cliffs, its spires piercing the night sky. Traveling with Ryder and Vance was a minefield of conflict. Ryder's jealousy simmering as Vance's knowing glances lingered on me. The journey was fraught. Ambushes by rogue scouts, forcing us to fight side by side. Ryder's growls clashing with Vance's calm precision. Intrigue abounded in the castle halls, marble floors echoing with whispers of betrayal. Challenges for the throne erupted, duels in grand arenas, politics in shadowed chambers. I proved my worth, defeating challengers with hybrid might. One vampire lord lunged with fangs bared, but my wolf claws ripped through him. Another schemed with poisons, only for my resilience to turn the tide. Each victory amplified the conflict. Vampires revered me as savior, but Ryder saw the throne as a chain pulling me from him. Crowned queen in a ceremony of blood and oaths, the moment was shattered by witches attacking the coronation. Spells rained down, turning allies to stone. Forcing a war declaration, battles raged across realms. Wolves and vampires clashing against witches and rogues in fog-shrouded fields. Losses mounted. Owen injured in a brutal skirmish, his leg mangled by a curse. Zara's mate killed defending her, her grief a raw wound that mirrored my own fears. Personal toll weighed heavy amid chaos. I discovered my pregnancy, a flutter of life that sparked joy and terror. Ryder became fiercely protective, his commands clashing with my need to fight. Our child, our future, he pleaded. But I refused to hide, leading charges where my powers peaked, commanding armies with mind control, turning tides by draining witch covens. Vance's loyalty was tested. His old flame with Mia resurfaced, her whispers tempting him to betray. The conflict climaxed in a midnight confrontation. He chose redemption, sacrificing himself to shield me from a fatal spell, his final words. For the true queen. His death deepened the war's scars, but forged unbreakable alliances. The final push against the witch's stronghold was a symphony of strategy and desperation. Sessions dragged into nights, alliances forged with reluctant factions. Elves from hidden groves, shifters from distant packs. But conflicts arose, distrust between wolves and vampires boiled over in heated debates. Ryder's authority challenged by those fearing my influence. Infiltration was my role. I posed as a prisoner, chains biting my wrists as I was dragged into the obsidian fortress, unleashing powers inside. The epic clashes began, magic versus fang and claw, fireballs scorching fur while claws rent spells asunder. Mia's end came in a sister duel atop the tower. Mercy offered as I held her at bay, but refused with a venomous strike. I killed her. Her blood on my hands a haunting conflict of kinship and justice. Blake's remnants surrendered in the dawn, their flags lowered. Peace negotiations followed. Supernaturals united under a treaty etched in blood and magic. We returned home, the pack healed, but forever changed. Rebuilding was a labor of love and conflict resolved. The pack prospered, vampires integrated into our society, their nocturnal ways blending with wolf hunts. Our child was born under a harvest moon, a hybrid heir, eyes flickering between gold and crimson, symbol of unity that quelled remaining doubts. Ryder and I ruled side by side, our love unbreakable amid council debates and border patrols. Past scars faded, the future bright with promise. Happiness, earned through fire and blood, sealed our eternal bond, a legacy of peace from the ashes of war.